Okay, apologies for not posting a video for about a month, and it's to do with this, the 2018 European heatwave. This room, where I do most of my filming, got above 40 degrees, and that's inside because of the insulation on the house. But I live in the southeast, and we hit 35.3 degrees, and I'll get to that. I'm doing them in alphabetical order. There are some really important things to discuss. Because of this summer, well, also last winter being so harsh and heavy snows and really cold, but because of this summer, there are real concerns going forward. This may not be a random event, this may become the new normal on a yearly basis. But let's have a look at things. Austria had 85% less rainfall so far this summer than last year. 85%. That's scary. Denmark has had, in the first half of the heatwave, or the first half of the summer, 845 wildfires. That's normally a yearly wildfire total. But in July alone, 1,000 wildfires. So between the 1st of May and 5th of July, they had 845, which is about what you get in a whole year in Denmark for wildfires at a peak. They've had 1,845 in a 2-month period. That is mental. And Denmark is a very rural country. That is really, really concerning. A lot of crops just gone up in smoke. Finland, there was an area in Finland in the Arctic Circle that recorded a temperature of 33.3 degrees Celsius, otherwise known as 92 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's got that hot that far north. I know in summer the sun doesn't set in the Arctic Circle, but that is having far-reaching effects on the glaciers and the ice caps in the Arctic Circle. That's worrying. France, on the 4th of August, the Fessenheim nuclear power plant had to be shut down, partly because the water temperature in the surrounding water source was too high to cool the reactor down effectively, and that was the #1 reactor. So that's not the first nuclear power plant to be put on standby or shut down because of the temperature. That was to avoid a nuclear meltdown. We weren't told about this until after the event. Oh, by the way, we've shut a power plant down. EDF and the French military had to shut the power plant down. Across the board in Germany, they've had 2 records broken. The 26th of July, sorry, was 38 degrees Celsius. And on the 31st of July, it reached 39 degrees Celsius. That's in Germany. The record is still not broken yet. That was back in the 2006 European heatwave, which I remember, which I've done a video on, the 76 heatwave, and discussing some of the other heatwaves we're currently having. But they got close. Greece, obviously, the Attica wildfires, that's left 92 people dead, thousands of homes and properties destroyed, thousands of areas of wilderness destroyed as well. That's still an ongoing public emergency. You've seen it on the news. That's just north of Athens. Italy, there's been 8 dead, confirmed dead in Geneva alone. There'll be other heat-related deaths. It's a national heatwave nationwide that has been declared, but no state of emergency yet. But higher than average deaths amongst the elderly and higher than average heat-related illnesses because of the temperatures. And Italy has been very hot. We're talking over 40 degrees here in parts of Italy. Mad. Latvia, 25,000 acres of peat bog and farmland, forest and grasslands have been burnt in wildfires. Latvia is a small country. That is a huge amount of protected wilderness destroyed. Lithuania is the only country in Europe to declare a national state of emergency. They've decided to put all public services such as police, firemen and hospitals and ambulances on public state of emergency. So there are a lot of constraints upon people. So there's water bans, there's water restrictions, there's outdoor barbecues are banned possibly or restricted. There's a limit on how much water a household can use. There are medical things put in place, so there's medical emergencies and there's a full state of emergency, so the military can have a more running of the country. They are very, very concerned about water usage. Lithuania, again, very rural country, lots of wilderness such as peat bog. Water levels are getting low and they've stepped in. Only country to declare a national state of emergency. I'm very surprised by that. The Netherlands have had 2 parts to the summer. They had a 13-day heat wave and then a 10-day heat wave with a little break in between. Very similar to the UK. But technically, I would class it as one long period of hot weather with a few cooler days below 30 degrees. To be classed as a heat wave in Northern Europe, you have to be over 30 degrees. They've had 23 days over 30 degrees Celsius in Holland. That's pretty mad. Norway has brought in a hosepipe ban nationwide, and there's been 14 major forest fires. Norway, again, very low population, but very rugged, mountainous, forested. That's quite worrying. Again, water levels are very low. There's not a lot they can really do apart from control water usage by people. Poland banned swimming at 50 public beaches. There was a public health issue. There's a type of bacteria that thrives on warmer waters that you normally get in the tropics that you don't normally get in Northern Europe. That suddenly exploded and is a public health concern. But banning swimming at public beaches may also reduce the amount of people drowning because you go into water shock and get into difficulty. They decided to, again, public health was at risk, and they brought bans in place. Portugal and Spain, this is where it's really stupid now. Portugal hit 46 degrees, and 45 degrees was recorded in Lisbon on August the 4th. Spain, again, deaths due to heat. There's 9 officially recorded. There will be more. Sweden, there's been 50 major wildfires, and there's a whole separate article on the Attica wildfires in Greece and the Sweden wildfires across Sweden. There are lots of them. Nuclear power plants have also been put into shutdown mode, very similar to Fessenheim, because of the surrounding lake, river, and sea temperatures being too high, and that's killing fish. That's killing native species that are dropping dead. They can't cope with it. Switzerland haven't had many wildfires, but they have banned in certain areas of Switzerland outdoor barbecues and outdoor fires, and they may also bring in hosepipe bans. It depends on region, what region you are in Switzerland, what canton you live in Switzerland. But they've decided to early on go, right, we're going to control, because the Swiss are very efficient at this. We're going to control how many, when people go to campsites, campfires, barbecues, etc. All outdoor fires are banned in I think 3 cantons in Switzerland. UK and Ireland, obviously, I've discussed the 76 heatwave on a previous video and brought into comparisons between the 2003, 2006 and this current hot summer. There have been wildfires across the north of England. Most scarily of all was in Saddleworth Moor, which is just northeast of Manchester. So you've got a big urban centre, big population centre in Greater Manchester. Saddleworth Moor is on fire, and there's still wildfires going, even though we've had a lot of rain. There's still smoulderings going on. There has been a water hosepipe ban in Northern Ireland. They are planning on standby. Northwest England could have it brought in, depending on what happens in the rest of this August, because it has cooled down by about 10 degrees. 10 degrees cooler than what it was at peak. We're talking about mid-20s. There is a chance that towards the end of August, beginning of September, we could get up to 30 degrees again. There is a chance that, again, another hot spell could come back, not just to England or the UK, but the rest of Europe, as I've listed. Temperatures have cooled down somewhat the last few days. However, there are still issues in place. Hosepipe bans, even though we've had a lot of rain lately and it's cooled down, could still be put in place because there are issues afoot. There's a lot more building fires. There's a lot more cars breaking down, catching fire, overheating. So there are other issues that go with this. The official temperature, hottest temperature we had, I think, was 35.3 degrees in Kent. I believe a few 36s have been reported, but they're not official in the record book. That was in Faversham in Kent at the end of July. I believe beginning of August, we had several days over 30 degrees as well. We've had 2 parts of the heat wave. We had part 1 and part 2. We have been very similar to Holland with at least, I would say, 20 plus days above 30 degrees in parts of the UK. That's a long heat wave. I wouldn't be surprised if later in August, beginning of September, there's a third wave to the heat wave, a third batch of really hot, dry conditions that hit Europe. But so far, it's cooled down a little bit. The public, the firemen, fire services, the ambulance services, the hospital services, the police, they're getting on top of a lot of the issues. But I'm very surprised that only Lithuania declared a national state of emergency. I'm surprised more countries didn't. But that is the European summer so far. We've picked out a series of countries. There are other countries that I could have got information for. I got this off Wikipedia because people keep feeding information in. There are websites that will cover everything. There's news websites that will cover across Europe wide. But this summer is still ongoing. We've still got the rest of August and the first half of September to worry about as well. There could be another spell of hot weather. We're not out the woods yet. We've got a lull, and it has rained a bit. It's cooled down a bit. Even now, I'm actually quite warm in my room, but my room is actually bearable. This is why I haven't done videos on this channel, or the main channel, for the better part of a month. I've done very few videos because it gets so hot that, because of the insulation of houses, the temperature inside my house was 10 degrees warmer than outside at times. It was almost impossible to do anything. We're talking high 30s, low 40s in Celsius inside because of the insulation. It was actually sometimes better off going outside in the shade. Direct sunlight, no, you would burn to a crisp. But inside it was bearable. But yeah, that is the European 2018 heatwave so far. We could have a third spell of really hot weather, but we shall wait and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.